Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome to module I, which is on traffic safety, and this is the first lecture on this module, Introduction to Road Safety. First, let us look at the road safety scenario globally and then in India. Globally, every year 1.3 million deaths are happening and 50 million people are suffering injury due to road crashes. Road crashes is the 8th in the leading cause of deaths, quite in the top, and most importantly, it is the first leading cause of death for children and young adult, the most important age group for any country considering the future, 5 to 29 years. For that age group, this is the first leading cause of death. If you look at the death rates expressed in this case, maybe per 100,000 population, then the death rates in low income countries are 3 times higher approximately than in high income countries. So, that shows that more rates are much higher in low income countries as compared to the high income countries. And in overall sense, 90% of the deaths are actually in LMIC, what we call as low and medium income countries. So, who is taking the burn? It is basically the LMIC, low and medium income countries, who have multiple other problems, economic issues, and they are suffering maximum because of the road traffic crashes and the resulting fatalities. The rate of road traffic deaths, as I said, per 100,000 population in that sense is the highest in Africa, followed by Southeast Asia region. If you look at this figure, Africa here, Southeast Asia, the highest bar you can see in Africa, followed by Southeast Asia, and alarmingly rate of road traffic deaths have been found to be increasing in this region. I have just tried to indicate the and trying to show you the upward trend in both regions, Africa and Southeast Asia. The present rates are highest in Africa, followed by Southeast Asia, and in both these regions there is an increasing trend of the rate of death per say number of deaths per 100,000 population. Now, if you look at the vulnerable road users, their involvement in road safety globally, you will see that pedestrians, bicyclists and motorcycles cyclists are easily injured and killed in road crashes. The simple reason, they do not have any protective shells around them. So, if they are killed, their chance of or probability of fatality is very high. And the biggest concern is more than half of the road traffic deaths are among vulnerable road users. If you look at this global representation, global death share, the motorized two wheelers and pedestrians and bicyclists together contribute nearly 54%. So, nearly more than half of the all road traffic deaths include vulnerable road user. These are all to be noted, because these have clear indications what and how we should proceed further to mitigate the number of road accidents and mitigate the number of fatalities, bringing down the number of fatalities. In the global plan, or as per global plan, during this decade of action for road safety 2021 to 2023, the target is to reduce road traffic death and injury by at least 50% during this decade. And if we have to do that, if we have to achieve that, then the governments and partners need to implement an integrated safe system approach, focusing on all the important elements or components, namely multimodal transportation and land use planning. It is very important. Multimodal context and the land use is the root cause of majority of the traffic issues or traffic problems. Then creating safe road infrastructure, not just creating road infrastructure as we have been doing in majority of the LMICs, just building road, but building road and building safe road infrastructure are two different things. Giving due consideration to requirements of all road users, not only the requirements of motorists. Then safe vehicle, which is also to some extent compromised in LMICs, the same brand when it is in European market and when it is in other African region or in Southeast Asia, the safety features are not the same. Safe road use and users, and also the post crash response, you know, the golden hour. If the victims are transferred to hospital where proper care can be taken, then the fatality rate can come down drastically. So, the post crash response is again very, very important. Coming to the scenario in India, that was the global scenario. Now, coming to the scenario of India. In our country, every year 150,000 deaths happen from 450,000 of road crashes, not a good thing, very high. And here most importantly, the national highways, which actually include only 2% of our entire road network in the country, account for 35% of the total traffic fatalities, very disproportionate figure. So, the national highways and also the state highways, they are to be handled in a much better way, and a relook is necessary the way we are building our national highways and state highways. It is important, no doubt. We need to develop our roads, widening road to 4-lane, 6-lane dual carriageway standards. They are the necessity. The economy rolls on transport, and road transport has a very big role to play in the overall economic growth of the country. So, we need it, but much more focus is required on the road safety aspects. Something definitely wrong with the way we are developing our infrastructure. Here also, if you compare that what is the involvement of VRUs in Indian context, it is more than 57%, not much different. And because if you see what we said, that globally that share is around 54% VRUs, and here in Indian case it is around 57%. And the share of VRU's death have increased as compared to previous years, especially if you compare 2018 and 2019 data. 2020 data, because of the impact of COVID, somehow the number may be very different. So, 18 to 19, they are very high, motorcyclist, and this is the pedestrian, and so the vulnerable road user again more than 50% in this case also, and showing an upward trend, very alarming. And altogether we are number 1 in deaths due to road accident. We must be very, very careful, and we need scientific, systematic approach, looking or accepting the reality. That is what are really important. We have to bring down the fatalities. Let us look at the causes of road crashes. Why the road crashes happen? Global research indicate that there are 5 broad risk factors. Human factors, for example, speeding, drunken driving, no use of helmet or seat belt, violation of rule, distraction, right, talking in over mobile or texting somebody while driving, this kind of things. Altogether human error, that is one major area. The other area is unsafe road infrastructure. As I said, creating road and creating safe road is very, very different. So, many cases we have created infrastructure, but they are not safe infrastructure. So, unsafe design and lack of facilities, unsafe facilities, they are the cause. So, that is the road infrastructure, road engineering aspects, I should say. Then unsafe vehicles, as I have said, in many cases the safety features are missing, and we are cutting down the cost, bringing down the vehicle price to make it competitive, to remain competitive in the market, but we are cutting where? Cutting the corners. Where we are cutting? Cutting in the safety features. That again is one of the reasons. Inadequate post-crash care, quality of pre-hospital and hospital cares is not really so good, there are deficiencies. And last but very important, inadequate law enforcement. Whatever you do, if we may create law, but that has to be, those laws are to be implemented, those laws are to be enforced properly. So, in many cases, especially in LMICs, there is glaring deficiency, or in a positive sense we can say there is a lot of scope for improvement in terms of law enforcement. So, these are the 5 different pillars. In a simple format, who are on roads? People, road environment and vehicles. So, in a very simple way, another way of looking at it, if we look at it, that road crashes may occur due to human factors, external or road environment factors, and vehicular or mechanical factors. Somewhat a different way of regrouping these verticals: human factors, external or road environment factors, and vehicular or mechanical factors. And these factors sometimes act individually, sometimes together in any combinations to contribute to road accidents or road crashes. Look at these shares. So, there are quite overlaps, and if you see human factors solely or combinedly contributing to 96%, road environment or road engineering directly alone or in combination with others contributing to 28%. So, better road engineering also is really an issue, and the vehicle factors altogether alone or in combination with road environment factors and human factors contributing to about 8%. Obviously, this 28 plus 8 plus 96 will be more than 100 because there are overlaps. Now, coming to the causes of road crashes reported in India, specific Indian context, what is happening? The human factors may include traffic rule violations, drivers driving without a valid driving license, non-use of safety devices for say two-wheeler no use of helmet, or for motor vehicle four-wheeler users not using the seat belt. So, if you look at it, that traffic rule violations, these are the different shares. What are the kinds of violation? The major share you can see, it is speeding or over speeding. So, speeding is a major issue. The infrastructure, the road environment, traffic compared to those or overall road traffic environment and the kind of speed that is happening is not, they are not compatible. The speeding is not compatible, overspeeding is happening. So, overspeeding may happen because somewhere the posted speed limit itself may be higher than what it should be, and the other way there are plenty of cases where the posted speed limits are actually violated by the motor vehicle users. So, that is what is actually the reality. So, share of road crashes due to rule violation, overspeeding or speeding contributes to more than 70%, very, very important. All these are some very quick look at the kind of information that are available and to understand the implications and what they indicate regarding the requirements or what interventions to be done in which area to improve the overall scenario of road safety in India. Look at this, the helmets and seat belts, what I say non-use of safety devices, how they are contributing, and the shares are quite significant. So, it tells us we should focus. Till now we could not convince the two-wheelers that helmet is necessary. Majority of the people use helmet because wherever police will be there, so they are afraid of police will catch them, they will fine, so they use helmet. The basic understanding that helmet is essential for my own safety if I am driving two-wheeler, that very essence is missing, not for everybody, but to a large extent. Road environment factors may include land use type. What is the type of land use? You will find that national highways passing through areas which are like semi-urban development, markets are there, activities are there, schools, colleges, offices are located very close to roadway, and there is no protection to vulnerable road users, no facility is provided, they are just simply crossing the road, looking at the gaps in the traffic, and no segregation, no protection to vulnerable road users. Land use type, road infrastructure, say straight segment, curved segment, sharp curves, steep, slope, type of junction and type of control I have taught you already, weather condition, all these are contributing to road accidents and fatalities, which we can call as road environment factors. Vehicular factors may include over-aged vehicle, the age of the vehicle, vehicle fitness is a major issue. and also the overloading of vehicles. Yes, we cannot say that there is no action, no enforcement, but with the same focus, continuous, every day, 24/7, 365 days in a year, same level of enforcement against overloading is missing. The vehicle fitness, there are plenty of lacunas. If I start talking, the several hours can probably go on this topic, that what are the real problems with the vehicle fitness aspect, the way the certification is obtained. Maybe afterwards many of the things are very different. I mean, tied to everything is changed actually. So, at the time of taking the fitness, vehicle is made very nice, but once the fitness is taken and then they are on road, that vehicle condition may be very different. Let us look at the factors influencing human characteristics, because major you have seen a very large share is human error or human characteristics that are playing a big role. So, let us look at the factors which influence human characteristics, but I wanted to say you why we need to be so careful. One is the kind of data that itself shows that human characteristics are very important and we need to focus on that. They in a way contribute, they have a big role, and if we, because of the issues related to human characteristics, you may find problems such as microsleep, such as distraction, and which may lead into road crashes and fatalities. Microsleep, as you know, is the sleepiness often combined with repetitive monotonous driving task, long time driving, especially the commercial vehicle drivers or the travel agencies, tour and travel agencies, those drivers, they drive continuously. So, it may be a monotonous thing for them, and the drowsiness that is the lasting for a fraction of seconds or up to a few seconds. Now, all these may lead to actually may contribute to microsleep. Similarly, distraction may happen because of you are using cell phone, or somehow a loss of concentration happens due to several other reasons it is possible. So, distraction, microsleep, these kind of things are closely related to human characteristics, and all these kinds of things may lead to road crashes and cause even fatalities. So, what are the human characteristics? What are the factors that are influencing human characteristics? Not the human characteristics, but which are the factors that are influencing human characteristics. You know, there is the driver, vehicle and road system, it is all together, where the driver, vehicle, road system, we recognize in this system, we recognize that the driver receives and processes inputs from the operating environment, road and vehicle, and then makes prediction, assessment and takes decision what is the appropriate action, then execute those actions via the vehicle, maybe pressing the brake pedal and then trying to stop or trying to decelerate or trying to change lane, steering action, brake action, acceleration, deceleration, all these happen and receives feedback about their effects from the environment. Now, comfortable and safe driving occurs only when they operate well below a stressful processing rate and not stressed with decision makings and above a minimum level of arousal. So, a minimum level of awareness, consciousness, alertness, right, and not doing any maneuver or any processing which is stressful and taking decision under stressed condition. These are very, very important. So, these are directly coming from the human characteristics. Physical characteristics which also influence the overall safety scenario, very important. Say vision characteristics, I have taught you these characteristics, for example, ability to see, then visual acuity and field of visions. I have mentioned all those in the right in the beginning, module A. So, I am only touching upon those to show you the linkage between those among those characteristics and the road safety issues. So, placement of sign, that is getting decided, it is very important and thereby influence safety as well. Color vision, whether I am able to recognize the sign properly, signals properly. Impact of aging on vision, very important. Visual reception, or say for example, glare recovery. Hearing perception to detect warning sounds. Mental makeup, knowledge, skill, intelligence, experience of the overall road users. So, the linkage you know now, how the human characteristics, what are the factors influence human characteristics and how the linkages happen with the road safety. Psychological characteristics, again very important in the context of road safety, they are also human characteristics. For example, attentiveness, anger, fear, anxiety, impatience, superstitions, phobias, perception reaction process, all these actually for example, say perception reaction process is very important for signal design and braking distance, that is getting influenced, and other characteristics also, right. If you are angry when you are driving and you behave in a crazy manner, right, congestion is there, just be calm and cool, calm and quiet, accept that there is a congestion, it will take little longer time. You become crazy and then start doing maneuvers in a very unsafe manner, and then eventually that may lead to a road crash. So, every aspect is very important, psychological characteristic. Environmental characteristic directly linked with the safety. Traffic system characteristics, traffic flow, how much travel time, slow moving, fast moving, motorized, non-motorized, all those. Facilities for the traffic, what is the type of road, what is the roadside facilities, atmospheric condition, for the example, the weather condition, the visibility, during fog, during rainy season, it's when it is raining or when there is a fog, it influences, it impacts. So, you have to be careful. Locality, the type of land use, very important, very important in Indian context as well. There are several other factors which influence human characteristics, for example, pavement marking. Now, you know that importance of pavement markings and their influence on safe driving is well known, especially if you are doing night time driving. The road and the outside carriageway portion all look black, because most cases the roads are bituminous roads, bituminous pavement, so which look black. So, the painting, road marking is really extremely important. It tells you clearly that is the road portion, especially during night time and also during driving in difficult weather condition. When it is raining, fog or snow, the visibility is low, then this marking really is very important, and also for old age drivers who probably otherwise have some issues related to the vision. Edge lines especially have very significant impact on roadway departure crashes. And one thing, let me tell you, the lane markings are also very important. You cannot drive, you cannot have a high speed facility without lane marking. So, that way the longitudinal markings or lane markings, edge markings, they are very important, because the distance between two vehicles you can assess, but the lateral placement, where exactly you are located laterally, that it is very difficult to assess. So, the lane marking, edge marking, they are longitudinal markings in all forms, they are very useful, and they are important, not a decoration. It is not that road, yes, road also will look very different, very nice once you have a proper road marking. The visibility and glaring, retro reflection characteristics will be very different, but that is not the only thing. It has got a scientific role to play. There is a scientific reason and it has a role to play in terms of the safety and efficiency of vehicular movement. Raised pavement markers have an impact on nighttime crashes depending on the AADT and also degree of curvature. Retroreflectivity in markings and signage, again a very important factor. I am only you know all these things. You know what is road marking, different types of marking, you know driver's characteristics, you know vehicle characteristics, you have studied all those. I am only touching upon this thing again to show you the linkage with the safety. For safety, everything is important. So, do not think it is a requirement just like that, it is a requirement for the safety. There is a direct linkage. So, retroreflectivity, as you know, is a measurement of the efficiency of a pavement marking to return light in the general direction from which it came. Generally, in terms of road pavement, this is achieved by putting glass beads or prismatic cube corners on the marking material. So, that way it is achieved, and more innovation is happening, and you know these days very high quality retroreflective sheets are available, which you can use as road sign. Very good retroreflection it gives. Even the paint also, the road painting or road marking also can give you very good retroreflection, provided you use actually a very good quality material. And codes are there, you refer to Indian codes, the relevant code for road marking, the relevant code for road signage, installation, what characteristics, what property. I mentioned all those. Look at my lectures in module A, try to link. So, there are codal provisions. It is not that bad that we do not know anything. There are things which are quite known, quite established, scientifically proved also, and accordingly included. What all we need to follow those, and follow those not that because the road will look nice, follow those if we really want to address the concerns related to road safety and fatalities. So, altogether what we discussed in this lecture is about the road safety scenario, the global scenario, the scenario in India, how the road fatalities are happening, at what rate it is happening, how the vulnerable road users are involved, how the trends are changing, and to tell you some of the very important findings from the data that will tell you in which direction, why road safety is important, why we need to focus on various aspects, where more focus is necessary, and to really move forward in a scientific and systematic manner. Then we discussed about the causes of road crashes, what are the common risk factors of road crashes and fatalities, what are the causes of road crashes as per the road crashes reported in India, what are the factors affecting the human characteristics, because human characteristics have a big role, and then I discussed about the driver, vehicle and the road system, how the feedbacks and everything happen and why the human characteristics are important. Then various physical, psychological and environmental characteristics which impact or influence the human characteristics and behavior, and also the other factors which may have an impact on human characteristics. With this, I close this lecture. Thank you so much.